Good afternoon. I'm Rob Giordano, the sheriff here in Sonoma County. Thank you for coming out today. I appreciate it. I'm here to talk about the Andy Lopez lawsuit settlement. If you're not familiar with this case, a little over 5 years ago, tragic event, one of our deputies shot a 13-year-old who was carrying a fake rifle that looked like a real rifle. My heartfelt condolences go out to the family. I don't even understand how hard this has been for them. Terrible event. It's been a difficult road for the family. It's been a difficult road for the sheriff's office. It's been a difficult road for this community. And it's been a difficult road for the deputy. In the end, the Board of Supervisors, working with the sheriff's office and the family, agreed to a $3 million settlement. It was the best for everyone involved. In the long run, excuse me, not in the long run, the bottom line is a 13-year-old died. Deputy was cleared of all wrongdoing, and I understand why he did what he did. The sad part is that across the nation, every year, people are hurt and or killed because of fake weapons. So please, don't buy fake weapons. If you have them, get rid of them. It is still a danger in our society. Sheriff's Office is going to continue to move forward with our community and build on the positive changes that we've made. Remember, the men and women of the Sheriff's Office are here to serve this community every day, and we'll continue to heal and grow through this event. So thank you very much, and I'll take any questions that you have.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Has the shooting prompted the department to revise in any manner their procedures for the use of deadly force?
So we review our force training and force options and how we use all levels of force all the time. We look at that regularly because it's such a critical part of the job, and keeping people safe is such an important part of the job, and we work towards more and more realistic training. One of the things we've done since the shooting is we have a use of force simulator now. So it gives us the ability to simulate real life situations in a more safe environment to teach people how to react to that. So there's a lot of changes like that have gone on.
But changes in training, I think, but the question is change. That sounds like changes in training, but are there changes to the actual policy?
No, the reality is that our deputy was faced with a weapon that looked like a real weapon that day, and we can't change that fact.
What do you think of the $3 million settlement? Do you think that's an appropriate amount?
So I don't think any amount of money can replace a 13-year-old, and it is a number that the family and the Board of Supervisors and the Sheriff's Office agreed on, and it's best, I think, I think it's a step to help people move forward, and I hope it's a beginning for the family to move forward.
Sure. I want to go back to your previous comment that you said, you had made it a point in your message posted on Facebook this morning and right now that the deputy was faced with a replica gun and that there was nothing else that they could do. Have you explored looking into other reactions in terms of de-escalation or anything like that?
Well, unfortunately, there is no way to de-escalate a deadly threat when it's a weapon like that. We actually train in de-escalation. We have for years. We've been training what's called crisis intervention training for the last 10 years, and it's specifically about de-escalation. And we do a lot of time and distance training. In other words, the more time and distance we can make with a threat, the more time we have to resolve something. So that's actually regular things we train. But the reality is that the speed at which a rifle like that can be fired, there is no de-escalation.
Sheriff, $3.6 million in settlements this year before this happened, now $3 million more. What kind of message does that send to the people you're taking care of?
It's a very dangerous job that deputies do out there, and sometimes we make mistakes and we have to resolve that, and sometimes we end up in a tragic situation like this where it's just the right thing to do for the community to settle the case.
If it was the right thing to do, why did it take 5 years to settle this case?
Well, it took 5 years because of all the legal complexities. What happened with this case is it became more of a legal question of qualified immunity and how law enforcement officers make the decision of when they can use deadly force in the courts. And that's why it took so long, because we ended up in appellate courts and all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Sheriff, does your department use alternative methods such as tasers and that type of thing?
We do. We have batons, pepper spray, tasers. We're open to any option that can minimize injuries.
But the takeaway here is that it's not like you need to add things to the toolbox. You have all of these things added to the toolbox. you're already doing de-escalation, you're already doing time and distance. And the point being, if you run into somebody again who's got a fake replica rifle, none of that's gonna make any difference.
No, and that's the reality of what we're faced with today. And it's been like this as long. I've been a cop for 29 years, and it's never changed. The year I started this job, I heard stories around this country of people getting shot because they had a fake weapon, and it looked like a real weapon. And that's not going to change until we don't have those out there and those aren't brandished at people.
So if this happened today, the officer would react the same way?
I couldn't second guess that. It's a unrealistic hypothetical because all the situations are so different in the world. But I can tell you that sadly, there will be another replica weapon shooting in this country.
How does the training, you said that one change is you've got use of force training that has changed. How could that impact a similar situation?
The best way that can impact a similar situation is with a different kind of weapon. We teach people to get behind cover, to get more time to make decisions and work with them. That's what happens. And fortunately, in this case, there wasn't an option for that.
Can you talk a little bit about Yale House, what his current position at the Sheriff's Department is?
So he's currently a patrol sergeant here out of the main office.
What does he oversee any specific unit or?
I believe he oversees a swing shift patrol team.
Can you point to any policies or procedures at all that came out at the sheriff's office as a result of the Andy Lopez shooting?
So one of the biggest things that happened that we learned, there's a lot of changes that have happened because we're always working to get better, but one of the biggest things we learned is communication with the community. Most of you have seen how we communicate differently now if you've paid attention the last 5 years over what we've been doing. But the reality is that we needed to be out with the community right away in that event and talking to people and educating people and working with people in what happened and explaining and talking and just listening to what they had to say about it. So we've really moved in the last 5 years to truly engaging with the community. What I mean by that is we're not just talking to the community, we're listening to the community. We built a pretty extensive social media platform. We respond to people's comments. We listen to what they have to say because we serve better when we hear that. And frankly, we serve better when people understand our role and what we can and can't do. So communication and community engagement has been an enormous, we've really grown those programs.
What about policies and procedures that relate to use of force? Has there been any changes in policies or procedures with regard to the use of force since Andy Lopez?
There's been changes in use of force policy and procedures. There's changes every couple months in that. It changes regularly.
What can you point to? What can you tell me?
I don't have a specific one off the top of my head, but that we change use of force policy constantly. We keep up with case law. We use best industry standards and best practices. The most common thing that changes use of force policy for us is law.
So this lawsuit alleged that your deputy acted recklessly. You go to the Supreme Court and say, we want to immunize him from any liability for acting recklessly. And the High Court says no. No, not in this case.
Actually, the High Court didn't say no. They didn't take the case. So
They let the lower court stand.
they did, and we actually still disagree with that decision. And I think you'll see in the future it will get appealed again because it's made some lack of clarity in the law and how that decision came out.
Well, it sounds like that lower court, and maybe the High Court, because they didn't take the case, thought that there was some liability that should be assumed by the department, and that perhaps the officer did act recklessly.
You actually completely disagree with you. That's not what the court said. What the court said was a jury should get to hear it. It's a different legal distinction. It's not that it's not saying that this happened. It's saying that's a decision of question of fact that the jury should get to decide. So it's a very distinctive difference.
Is that the reason for the settlement, that you didn't want to put it in front of a jury?
No, the reason for a settlement is there's a 13-year-old's dead, and the right thing to do for the community and to start moving forward was to settle the case.
But you needed to have the lower court decision decided by the High Court or the refusal before the settlement came down. So if it was the right thing to do, it seemed like the right thing from the department's point of view was to try and get him immunized, and if you couldn't do that, then you'd settle.
So even if he was immunized, we'd still be in court. It would not have stopped the trial. It would have been in a different court. There was no point where this wasn't going to go to trial. It was just a different set of rules. And we go back to the legal decision was truly more about the legal decision that impacts how peace officers use force every day. It actually got bigger than this case, and that's what delayed the case for us. That legal decision got bigger for us.
So after 5 years, now you have a settlement. What does this mean for the department? What does it mean for the community?
Well, what I hope it means is the next step in healing. If you followed this community and the office through all of this, you will know that it. Again, I tell you, I'll say it again. I can't imagine what the family's been through. I know what Deputy Galehouse has been through. Excuse me, Sergeant Galehouse has been through, and I only know a small piece of that because nobody I think could understand what he's been through completely. And I know what the sheriff's office has been through because I've been here through the whole event, and it hurt a lot of people, and it's hurt a lot of people in this community. So I'm hoping this is one more step in the right direction to move forward in healing.
Can I ask you a question? I've heard you mention twice in the Facebook video and now about fake guns and getting them off the street. Is this some sort of campaign that you're launching now because of what happened with your then deputy and Andy Lopez?
It's literally just common sense because we've had this problem for so many years and it's not going to go away. So it's not a campaign. There's been many movements to ban them. Most of them have been unsuccessful. I think the true way to solve problems in society is when society buys in and does it themselves. I mean, let's face it, we reduced smoking by education. I hope at one point we reduce fake guns by education. Okay, well, thank you for coming today. I appreciate it. Spencer's going to stay around and answer any spelling questions or any specific questions for you.
This will conclude the press conference. I'd be happy to talk to you guys individually if you need some follow-up clarifications or name spellings, anything like that. I'd be happy to help out.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
I got here a little late. Did they answer the question about Iolero? Because there's some place where the that's going to stay in place.
That was not accurate.
Pardon?
Yeah, it was not asked.
We are done on that.
It was not Iolero.
No, but I mean, it is the organization that does answer to the sheriff and does make recommendations. And they just had a meeting and the man is retiring. How does that?
Yeah, so our understanding, and I think they're actually interviewing two candidates today. For the Iolero director. It sounds like for the board of supervisors, and they're making a decision
Oh, okay, so
to
then-
keep that program together.
So that's kind of.
Say it again? Yeah, I don't know what rumors are out there, but,
That
I
is
know
going to
that.
be disbanded.
No, 2 people are being interviewed actually today.
Thank you.
You bet.
If I were to ask.
I
I don't know, somebody called me